I did a couple of people favor with dollar super chats, but we are highlighting $20 super chats. Of course, keep them respectful because I literally just read these things. I don't read them before I read them.
Absolutely.
And,
it's Christianity, the white man's religion. That's what we're discussing here tonight with these four brothers here on set.
Absolutely. And I dropped the poll, guys. We already got 1,200 votes. I'm getting ready to close this just shortly. Should the racial identity of Jesus matter? So far, we got 44% of people that say absolutely, and the rest of the people in the chat are saying it does not matter.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. But really quick, Jerome, I want you to chime in wherever you feel most moved on this conversation. But once you do that, I do want you to add in some of those sources and footnotes that prove Jesus existed. If you
that was an important
for
part
us.
of the question as well.
Yeah.
That was a very important part that Jerome posed.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jerome.
So Melech hasn't defined liberation. He has not defined that, like what the liberation is. So the finish line keeps adjusting.
Does anybody want to ask me?
That's typically what happens with conversations like this. So it's like the only thing he did say was just us being our African selves. And so when you talked about these things before colonization, there are several names from the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th century that were Christians before colonization. Tertullian, who gave us the concept of the Trinity, was a Christian. Perpetua and Felicity, 2 African female martyrs in 203. You're talking about giving up their lives for their sake of their faith. Lactantius, Pachomius, Shenouda the Great, the concept of reflective meditation and having a monastery to Lord Yahweh. These are African Christians long before colonization over in Africa. So yes, Africa was polytheistic, but you had tons of monotheistic believers in Africa. So them being their true African selves, they saw the Lord Yahweh as God. They saw one God as the true God. They embraced and shaped theology and apologetics and these methods before the Socratic method, which is Socrates. And that's what Damon was talking about, is what he's doing to try to get you to actually answer comes from African intellectualism. But these are maybe, and again, I'm not assuming, but maybe you don't know these names. And so when you talk about us getting back, it's the family. In the book of Genesis, God establishes a family. The breakdown of our community is the breakdown of the family. And so it's not that Christianity isn't working, it's that we're not working it. You're seeing a rise of, and I know it's a whole nother topic, but you're talking about homosexuality, the breakup of the family, depending on the government. These are things we have to own in our community. When we actually submit to Lord Yahweh and we don't have several baby mamas and we stay committed to one woman, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, which is in the Bible. When it says, fathers, don't provoke your children to wrath. When we're not hiding income to not pay child support because the Bible wouldn't allow us to do that. If we submit to what it says, our families stay together. We're not in debt. We have generational wealth. We have my church right now. We're building a STEAM program. We're raising money to teach coding for free, video production for free. Credit unions, educational centers, all come from the historic Black church to liberate, to empower, to give us money, to create generational wealth. So it works when we work it. So the issue is not Christianity. The issue is not God. The issue is not that it's somehow oppressing us. It's that there are many Black people not living under the lordship of Christ, and they are seeing the results of that in their lives with broken families, divorce, children that need counseling because the families don't stay together, promiscuity, glorifying drugs, glorifying rape, glorifying thuggism. This is what's happening when you don't live under him. So the issue is not Jesus. The issue is men and women ignoring and not living under his lordship. So true liberation is submitting to your creator. And when you submit to him, you get the fruit of the spirit: love, joy, peace.
I just need some time, I'm trying to think straight. I just need a moment in my own space. Ask me how
The fruit of the spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. And so the issue is not him, it's us. And when you see churches and people that truly live out that, we see the benefits, we see the fruit. We see that within our churches. You see the marriage rate higher in those places. And these are numbers and things you're not looking at. There's a book called The Great Dechurching that gives you stats on deconstruction as well as stats on solid things happening in the faith. Again, another source. And so I'll end here. We started this conversation. This is an original book from 1970 by Dr. Tom Skinner. This is not a new conversation. This is not a new conversation. This is actually a signed copy. And he was talking about how black is the gospel, dealing with the same thing that Hoteps of his day. I'm not saying you're Hotep. I'm talking about the book. Hoteps of his day. I want to be respectful. I don't want to mischaracterize you, but that's what he was did. So it's the same conversation. We got the African memory of Mark. Mark was a Cyrenian Jew. An African man wrote the Gospel of Mark. In fact, there's something called Markan priority. His gospel was written first. We can go to the Cushites. A Cushite, a black, Nubian, dark-skinned African saved the prophet Jeremiah. You can go to the Kedarites in the Bible. So when you have all these things, and there was a book that started all off called The Black Presence in the Bible. There have been plenty of things written. And so the reason we keep giving sources is because we know you guys aren't Christians, and I don't want to assume those that in the chat, we know that everyone in the chat is Christians, and we want to provide sources. And of course, my book got 246 citations in it. 100 books went into this one book because I'm not telling you just trust me because I'm a pastor. No, before I became a Christian, my issue with Christians is that they could not freaking answer questions. They could not answer questions. And so I wanted to create a resource that actually answered those questions. So I'll go there because I know it's late. We talking about letting people on, but I just wanted to go there to give them those names of historical figures before colonization, and to give you the issue that's happening in our community. It's not that Christianity is that we're not living under the lordship of Christ, and we are seeing the rotten fruit of that in our community. If you obey the Bible, you're going to be a good husband. You're going to be faithful to your wife. You're going to take care of your children. You're not going to hide income. You're going to work, because if you don't work, you don't eat. That's in the Bible. So if we follow it, we'll see the fruit of that in our community.
Thank you, Pastor Jerome.
Yeah, let me go ahead and close out this poll, by the way.